All right, well, here's where we are. In the studio again. Got the wide shot on today because I need to do some alternate work, and here's why. I've been doing some work in Claude Code. The last time we talked, it was having some issues with the tabular data. So the family group records, 2 up on a sheet, sometimes 3, landscape instead of portrait, just wasn't reading them very well. And it's a known issue. So I've actually been working with Claude a little bit off camera just to kind of debug and get some ideas. It started to work on some code that I think is going to work, but I kept hitting the Claude limits. And here's an interesting thing with Claude Code. So when it does something in your terminal and say it's going to run a script, just a basic script, maybe even a test, you can say yes, or you can say yes and let me run all scripts in the future. Then you can then it might ask a question like, do you want to run a test script? Yeah, sure, run the test script. Oh, and just run all test scripts in the future. I got pretty loose with that. I'm not worried about it from a security issue, but what it ended up doing was a lot of the work itself without my stopping and checking and intervening. And by doing that automatically, it was using up a lot of my Claude time. It was just pumping through tokens. And so this morning, I got out of bed, I got up early, couldn't get back to sleep, so I started coding. It was about 5 a.m. By 6 or 7, maybe 6:37, I'd run out of tokens. I'd used up everything. Had to wait till 8 a.m. Reset at 8. Great, perfect. Was away for a while, came back, started coding. I needed to wait until 3 this time, 3 p.m. and started right at 3. It was doing some great work. It was actually getting the different regions and then getting the different cells. And then I hit another limit. So here I am with a good chunk of the day on my hands. And my wife said, you got to find another project so that when Claude hits its limit, you can do that other thing. So that's what I'm going to do now. I've got another project in mind. It means that I need to set up either my flatbed scanner or my fast photo scanner. But you can see here, the studio is a little bit messy. I've got some things over on the side here that I'm going to show you in a second. I want to clean those up. So this is kind of like the studio flip day, getting prepped to do another chunk of work while I'm kind of offline with software development in Claude. The first thing I wanted to show you is this. And I've got a lot of wires here. This came this week, and I'm so excited about it because I'm going to use it in future projects rather. This is called the Veloy Easy 35. Not endorsed, I bought this one. This is essentially a light source in a box. There's the light source. And it's got different colors of lights as well, from warm to bright. Not sure if you can see that on camera. And then it's got these tubes that separate the light source, but don't let light in, so that on the other end of the tube, you can put a DSLR camera, and then let's imagine there are tubes in between, and then I can slide into here, slides and negative film, a couple of different sizes. I even bought a duster to dust off the film on the way in. This was a borrowed item. I don't own this camera. It's from one of my children. And what I didn't know was that I don't have the right lens. When you're shooting with the EZ35, you need a macro lens so it can zoom in. And depending on the body and the frame of the camera, whether it's full frame or half, and the lens that you're using, you may need a different amount of distance between the lens and the EZ35. So it's hard to see here, but these are all different size tubes. Sorry for that sound. Different size tubes. So these are 40 mils, 1, 2, 3, 4 40s, and then this last one's a 20. I also have a 10, and then there's a bunch of rings to do step-ups to get it to fit your lens, no matter what kind of lens size it is. So I cracked this open the other night and was fiddling with it. I did end up getting a scan, but it was only half of what I needed because I didn't have a macro lens. So the process works, and I ordered the macro lens. It's supposed to arrive tomorrow, but I think I just saw that it got delayed again. So that project is coming. I don't think it's part of the Kith and Kin project, but I will have some projects where I am scanning film, and old negatives. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I got to clean all this up. So I'm just going to get started. The goal is to get all the Veloy gear stored and get prepped for another scanning project and switch some things around here so that I've got some space. So enjoy. Okay, I think I'm set up for a little side project. Let me show you these books. Got 3 binders here. What is this? My paternal grandparents, Fraser Moffat, Mary Nelson, when they got married in 1933, I believe, in Saskatchewan, they started a scrapbook. My grandmother started a scrapbook. I'm sure it was her. It looked like her writing. And they put all of their wedding announcement information, the cards that they received from people, and she wrote down what was given, a plate or a dish or something. There are a few photos, not that many. Most of them are cards. And there are some telegrams. So that is a cool thing. I will show you. I just don't know when I'm going to show it on YouTube. So I got the studio cleaned up, but I think I'm ready to get going on that. You'll probably see that video at a later time because I do want to keep working on the Kith and Kin project. Okay, it's a few days later, back in the studio. Things have changed a little bit. Let me explain what's going on. I got blocked by Claude Code Time in getting all of my Kith and Kin data extraction going, the OCR that I was working on. So I thought, okay, work on this other project. I've got my grandmother and grandfather's scrapbook from their early marriage, the first 3 years of their marriage. And I thought, I'll just get the document scanner down, the one with that great sheet feeder that I was using before. And I got that set up and then realized for some of these sheets, let me put some gloves on first. For some of these pages, as I take them out of this archival sheet to protect it in the binder, I'm going to show you where this could have worked. The idea was take it out of here, put it in the special protector that runs through the document scanner, and then feed that through. It would protect things like that heavy paper where the card is. It could do double sides. It was going to be awesome. Then I realized that if this was in the protector and I wanted to get the inside of this card, and it's not the only one, there are lots of cards that open up. See how that goes over the edge right there? That would not fit into the scanner. It's only 8.5 by 8.5 wide. So a regular sheet of paper. So that wasn't going to work. So I felt like I was at another dead end. I did work on some other things during the week, and this is now a couple days later. It felt like a whole week full of dead ends, but push on. So you can see a couple of different things in the studio, and what I wanted to show you was some new equipment here. So above me is the camera, the DSLR camera that I'm going to use to scan 35 millimeter slides and negatives, and some other sizes of negatives as well, 120 mil. But I remember saying that I didn't have my macro lens. Well, the macro lens came. So I did have a couple of nights of just kind of playing around with that, with the Veloy system. It's really fun. I'm not going to make a video on that yet because I've got these other projects I want to finish. But when I got thinking about the problem of scanning these documents through the document scanner, and I don't want to put them down on the flatbed and have that just take so long. I've done it before, but I didn't want it to take so long. I realized that if I bought an arm and a tethering cable and set it all up correctly, that I could have this overhead shot of the camera and capture a large resolution raw image. And then I can take that into the computer and do some post-processing to get all the colors right, etc. So I've spent a couple of nights figuring out which equipment, getting the equipment, setting up the equipment, and now I'm back and ready to finish up this particular video, which was sort of the side quest from the Kith and Kin series that I'm on. I just wanted to do some more scanning while I'm waiting for Claude Code to come back on for me. So let me show you how this is going to work. I've got some blue tape on the desk. I've done this measuring and the focusing already for the camera. And if I just kind of register it like that and hit our capture button, there's the blue tape. You can see it on the screen. And this is sort of the registration table. And then a few seconds later, because it's doing some processing, shows the image on the left side of the screen. So that is the process. These are really fun. Some of these cards open up. There's some signatures inside, somebody's handwriting. So let me just block that down, make sure that that is still registered as best I can. Doesn't have to be perfect. I can do post-processing and drop and rotate a little bit, but I want to get it pretty good. And hit capture again. And in this way, you know what? I'm going to do that one again because it did go a little bit further to the side. It's a little bit out of frame. So I'm going to push this one a bit. I've already got the right edge on the previous photo. I want to get everything in on this photo, or this scan, I should call it. There we go. Let's give that a try. Give it a capture, and then the resulting image on the lower left of the screen. It just takes a second here. There we go. All right, I can work with that. I've got this block here. It's not too fancy, but it can keep the cards open while I'm doing that. All right, this is one of the first newspaper clippings. There are a few, not too many, but there are a few, and it's not clear here which newspaper this is from, but I do have a newspapers.com subscription. I could probably find this article and then put some more information around it. Let me just read a little bit of it. In compliment to Miss Mary Nelson, that's my paternal grandmother, her maiden name Nelson, popular local girl whose marriage takes place shortly, many Indian Head friends have combined in several showers during the past week to express their regard and goodwill. So she didn't have just one. There were a number of showers. Indian Head was in Saskatchewan, where she was working at the time and where Fraser lived. So I haven't captured this one yet. Line it up, capture it. Great. All right, now it's just keep doing it. not only do I have all of these, but let's find the other binders. That's the first binder. This is the second binder. And this one's the larger one. This is the bigger binder. There might be some more things that I have to pull out and unfold in this one. So there's a lot in the scrapbook, and my goal is to at least get through these and maybe make a stab at those. So let's go. I do want to pause and take a look at this one. A telegram from Long Beach, California, April 15th, 1933. Mr. and Mrs. Fraser Moffat, 2055 Smith Street, Regina, Saskatchewan. Heartiest congratulations and wishes for future happiness, Stuart Nelson. Stuart Nelson was my grandmother's brother, and I am named after both of her brothers, Stuart Frederick. Those two men. And Stuart left the farm and went to Long Beach and became a grocer. I'm just going to see if I can get this one. I don't have to just put this one up here for a second to get the bottom one. And this was from Vancouver, BC, from Lorne, which I believe was, I'm going to check this, but there were a few Lornes, and I think this is Fraser's father. So, telegrams from Mary's brother and Fraser's father. That might have been the one that fell out on the earlier page. Nice little card fit in the envelope. I'm going to keep the card out of the envelope so when it's in the protective sheet, you can still see the card. And I was thinking about the two telegrams. I think the Lorne that sent the telegram was my grandfather's brother, not his father. I do remember that I think they were both called Andrew Lorne, and Junior did live in British Columbia, so I'm pretty sure that was one page of telegrams from their brothers, from Stuart for Mary and from Lorne for Fraser. More to go here, almost at the bottom of binder 1. Us to the end of the first binder. There are 2 more to do. I'll find some time in between other projects to scan those as well. I think that brings us to the end of this week's video. Again, thanks for watching. And next week, I hope to be back on track with Kith and Kin. I probably should also get into some of the formatting from the narrative text that I've already extracted. But maybe give that the priority next week. I think that's probably a good idea. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, thanks again for joining. See you next time.